Up, a Magoffin County toddler rescued after being all alone for the better part of 3 days is recovering this morning. We will go check on him. The search for a missing West Virginia teen did not end as hoped. We will have more on who is now facing charges. And we talked to Letcher County officials about a drug incident earlier this week that ended up with at least one student sent to the hospital.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 6 o'clock on Friday, May the 17th. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning into Mountain News This Morning. Well, it's a Friday, so everybody rejoice in that. And if you are a warm temperatures kind of person, you're going to be living in seemingly heaven today because it's going to be warm and it's only going to get warmer from here and more humid. Let's bring Brandon in this morning so we can give you a better breakdown. And Brandon, as I left my house to come to work this morning, it was raining a little bit here in Hazard. Should we see that continue today, or what should we expect?
I think it'll die off here in the next few hours, but again, humidity is going to mess with your hair today, Will. I know it's messing with mine already, but you know, got to put that
breaks
hair
of the game, you know.
That's right. Let's get in there this morning, talk about what's going on with the rain. Let's take a look at the satellite radar loop the last few hours. Outflow boundary coming off of that front to our north brought some rain into our area overnight, so good sleeping weather, but we're still seeing some showers and storms this morning, especially into the eastern parts of the state. Now we go down to the south first, into parts of southwest Virginia, East Tennessee, and southeast Kentucky, scattered and moving east. But you go back up toward Jackson, they're getting a pretty good little shower right down at the radar at the Weather Service, and then also over toward Paintsville, Prestonsburg, and up toward Louisiana, and even Ashland and Huntington getting slammed right now with showers and storms. Heavy rain up that way. Fog, a bit of an issue this morning because of that moisture in the air. Temperatures very mild, 65 in Ashland right now, even with the rain. 66 Prestonsburg, Moorhead, 64 Pikeville, everybody else in the upper 50s and low 60s this morning. Appcast, we're looking at, again, temperatures climbing into the 80s as the rain goes away and the sunshine returns. All right, the rest of that forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, a true miracle in the mountains. For nearly 3 days, a toddler lived alone, finding a way to survive with the dangers of these eastern Kentucky hills. This is a new look tonight of the rescue. Your news today out of Magoffin County shared it with us. Kenneth Howard is suffering from dehydration and tick bites, but is expected to make a full recovery. On Thursday, we heard from his rescuers.
We wasn't expecting him to be alive. We didn't expect him to be there.
Michael Tussey heard this little boy's cries for help.
I just cried. I knew it was him.
Searching hours on end, hundreds came out to search for little Kenneth, hoping they would find him alive some way, somehow.
If it happened right now, I guarantee all the first responders would do it again.
The Wolfe County Search and Rescue Squad, trained in finding hikers in the Red River Gorge, had the winning formula to rescue this 22-month-old boy.
It's always scary when it's a child. I mean, we have personally never dealt with a search for a child that's 22 months old. I think for us in the Gorge area, the youngest has been a 3- and a 5-year-old.
In 1,400-foot elevations, crews scoured all around the house, but they came upon the blonde-haired boy just more than 1,700 feet from his home.
I know when the call came in that they'd found him, like I said earlier, it was, I could feel some well up going on, and, I'm not ashamed to admit that, so it was a good feeling.
Tussey couldn't sleep at all last night, emotions still running high. Now, looking back, he and his crew of 8 look forward to the day when they can talk to Kenneth face to face about this miraculous find.
I couldn't tell you. It's something that my whole team, all these guys, it's just, I don't know. You get teary-eyed sitting here talking about it.
And as all of these fathers go home tonight, they'll look their own kids in the eyes and hug them just a little bit tighter. Now, many have wondered what Kenneth wore all that time out in the woods. They found him wearing a gray Avengers t-shirt and red sweatpants with a blue stripe. They searched for him for about 67 hours. The radius stretched about a half a mile around his home, ultimately finding him about a third of a mile northwest of his house. His cries for help ultimately leading to his rescue.
And as we called his name over and over, he sporadically would speak up, and he would give us a shout, and we were able to pinpoint his location, then move into where he was at.
Now, no doubt many people watching Kenneth Howard's story are wondering how this little boy could survive. Lexington ER Dr. Ryan Stanton says it's surprising that hypothermia was not an issue for the child, given how cold it was the last few nights. In terms of dehydration, Stanton says children can go 3 days with no water without many issues. One of the biggest concerns right now is the toddler's tick bites.
You know, the tick-borne illnesses has the potential to be an issue for this child, and honestly, at his age, you know, he really doesn't have a great immune system for dealing with it. So that'll be interesting to see if that was a consideration, or if they're going with a pediatric center where he went, if they're going with a watchful waiting type approach, or if they're going to go ahead and treat for the potential of exposure to tick-borne illnesses.
Dr. Stanton says it was perfect timing for first responders to hear the child's cry. If it was a few days later, he says it's unlikely the child could have been able to cry loudly enough. Well, so many of you answered the call for help. You proved just how amazing of a place it is right here in the mountains. 200 to 300 people helped in the rescue efforts, many others donating food, water, and whatever else might have been needed. WYMT's Marianne Fletcher continues.
In a time of need,
the gratitude is beyond measure.
county lines blend here in eastern Kentucky.
Seeing everybody pray together and search together and, you know, support each other, that was the best feeling.
This week, we watched that firsthand during the search of little Kenneth Howard. Jessica Sloan is one of many who jumped into action.
It's just like everybody pulled together right when it needed to be pulled together.
Many felt a special bond with this blue-eyed little boy.
I prayed that God would hold that baby in his arms until someone could find him.
Holding on to hope.
And that's a personal thing.
When so many may have given up.
That's one of the happiest moments that I've had in a long time.
Donations poured in from across the region.
The support we had was endless.
The search that started with tears also ended with tears.
That's emotional. You know, even before he was found, and emotional afterwards, so.
But all for the right reasons.
I saw something earlier today that said, never give up. Right when you think it's over, God performs a miracle. And I know that God performed a miracle.
Because so many proved just how special a place it is here in the mountains. Marianne Fletcher, WYMT Mountain News.
The mountain miracle, and it's something I think we all needed at the right time. Let's head to some other news this morning. Police have arrested a suspect in the disappearance of a 15-year-old girl in West Virginia. Riley Crossman was missing for more than 1 week until investigators found what are believed to be her remains Thursday morning. The remains were discovered in a remote area just hours later. Her mother's boyfriend, Andy McCauley Jr., was arrested and charged in a murder. Investigators say medical examiners will perform an autopsy to confirm the remains are Riley's. We have received many messages over the last several days from concerned parents in Letcher County. This comes after a student brought what is believed to be meth to Letcher Elementary and Middle School. Because this case involves a juvenile, certain details are being left out. What we do know is that it was Tuesday morning when Letcher County Sheriff Mickey Steins says his office received a call about suspected meth at the school. The student's name is not being released. Officials say the student attended the middle school.
I think the parents need to educate their kids on what meth looks like. Show them pictures. Get online, show them pictures of what meth looks like. Make sure that they understand if another student or another kid has anything in the school system, to go to the principal immediately.
School officials say one student was taken to the Whitesburg Hospital following the situation. Multiple others also went to the hospital for treatment. Stein says he is keeping a stronger law enforcement presence at the school as the investigation continues. He said the student involved could face charges. The suspected meth will be sent to a lab for testing later today. In national news now, an F-16 fighter jet crashed into a warehouse just outside of Southern California's March Air Reserve Base last night. Eyewitnesses say the F-16 Fighting Falcon pancaked onto the roof shortly after taking off from a runway at the base. The pilot ejected before the plane went down. A member of the fire team that responded to the incident explained their rescue efforts.
We've searched the building, searched the area. We're able to evacuate the people that were inside that building. Out of those, 12 people were triaged and treated for exposure to debris from the aircraft impact. Those people were deconned and were transported with minor injuries to a local hospital.
Reports say live ammo was on the aircraft at the time of the crash. No injuries were reported. 3 people have been arrested in connection with the brutal murder of a missing pregnant woman. Police in Chicago say the woman's baby was forcibly removed from her body following her murder. Police say Clarissa and Desiree Figueroa strangled 19-year-old Marlene Ochoa Lopez to death. Ochoa Lopez went missing after she went to a Chicago home to pick up a stroller and baby clothes. Her newborn was found when paramedics responded to a distress call at the home. Police say the Figueroas were there trying to pass the baby off as their own.
They should be celebrating the birth of a young baby. Instead, they're mourning the loss of the mother and possibly that young child.
The baby was confirmed to be Ochoa Lopez's after DNA testing. Police say the child is now in grave condition.
Well, the forecast this morning a bit soggy for some, but the big story today is going to be heat and humidity. Let's take a look across the region with the cameras, and then we start at UVA-wise. And again, a lot of cloud cover this morning. Hopefully that will start to dissipate as we head deeper into the day. A lot of rain overnight, and some of that's still trying to filter through this morning. Hopefully that'll be gone before too long, but we're seeing some pockets of some showers and storms, especially back up toward Charleston and Huntington this morning. All that kind of staying off to our east, so we're going to keep an eye on that. Some fog problems, some visibility issues across the region, so be careful of that this morning. Temperatures are very mild, 50s and 60s across the region today. Forecast this afternoon, 84. Chance of rain early. I think it goes away for the most part later today, and then we'll see hot and humid conditions under mostly sunny skies this afternoon. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you, sir. And thank you for getting started with us right here on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, a story of hope from a University of Kentucky football player who recently dealt with some scary health issues. And later, a story that will probably make your skin crawl. We have more on how long bed bugs have actually been around.